Give me a little patience. All right. All right. So new beginnings, we're going to remember what it sounds like. Our voices are off unless it's time to talk. Thank you. All right. So today we have adaptations in the wide world of frogs. I always want to say wild world of frogs because we learn about some pretty wild frogs, but it really is wide world of frogs because there are such varieties that we're going to learn about. Today, we are going to focus on a couple of things. I can refer explicitly to the text when answering questions about the text. See, that sounds familiar. We're all really good at that. I can plan and draft an informational paragraph that has a clearly stated focus, facts, definitions, and details from the text. So I am going to write we are going to write today a paragraph. I'm not going to have you copy it down, but I really, really need you to focus on it today, okay? Because you will be writing one on your own eventually, and it's going to go, we're going to compile it with your pourquoi. You're going to have an informational paragraph, and then you're going to have an essay from the next unit. So you really want to pay attention to how we do the today's, because you're going to do one very similarly to it, just like we always do, right? We model one or two, and then we do some, and then we ask you to do one independently. It's going to be the same kind of idea. And then we're going to talk about regular verbs. We're going to talk about what a verb is, an action word. You guys have already we talked about that a little bit last week. And we're going to talk about when something is the present tense, happening now, past tense, happened in the past, obviously, and then the future tense, something that hasn't happened yet. We spell the verbs differently depending on how if it's happening now, in the past, or in the future. So we're going to practice that today. So one of the things that we are really going to focus on for the moment is, well, we made up all of those jokes or all of those stories about why and how like why frogs did whatever. You all wrote lovely stories. Had to do that pretty much on your own when you were remote, right? So those were made up fictional stories, but now we know that this unit is nonfiction. So if it's nonfiction, if it's informational, we know that we're coming up with the real answers of why some of these, real answers to our questions. So we came up with why do pollywogs wiggle as our story. Today we're going to actually really focus on this in the real world. Why do pollywogs wiggle? Okay. So if we were doing that, oh no, I'm on the wrong one. Look at that. Mrs. Harrison is actually in the wrong spot. She was on the other one. There we go. Uh-oh. Good old internet. Come on, internet. There we go. All right. So let's go ahead and open pages 6 and 7 from your frog book. Pages 6 and 7. These are the ones we used from last week, obviously. We have, and everybody at home has theirs. So this is what we used for our ideas. And we got a lot of information out of just these 2 pages. We came up with tons of information. And today we are going to continue, but we're going to organize the information so that the recipient can write a paragraph with it. And so, sorry, Mrs. Harrison has, okay. You have a page 65 inside your workbook. And so let's look at, if I was organizing a paragraph, I would want to write some notes first because I'm an expert, where we're becoming experts, right? That's one of our guiding questions is what do experts do? So we're becoming an expert. So we came up with some information. So on page 65, this is definitely not a piece of paper I wanted. Sorry, my friends. Okay, there we go. All right, page, it's gonna be wonky no matter what I do. Okay, you'll notice on page 65, there are 3 sections. 3 sections, definition, facts, and details. And these all, honey, page 65. Everybody have their book open to page 65. Thank you, Max, for being ready to go. Oh no. Okay. I was gonna say it's the same one as usual. Oh, bummer. Okay. All right. We're having some connectivity problems with some friends. So before we even fill out this page on page 65, let's just look right across the street at page 64. Okay. That's where we wrote a bunch of notes, isn't it? On page 64. This is Aubin. They were supposed to be filling out page 64 at their houses. So when you get a chance, you might wander around and see how they did on page 64 at home. Okay, so we worked really hard on this page. And so we wrote down some things. We answered some questions. We answered, where do amphibians live? What is unique about how they breathe? What is one difference between reptiles and amphibians? And we actually had a couple different differences. And what is unique about how tadpoles breathe? Okay, so just a reminder of some of the things we learned from last week. All right, so we filled in all of those spots. We also broke down some sentences on page 63, and we really we did a close read and really broke them up. So today we are going to actually work on page 65 using what we already know and looking at page 6 and 7. So the question is, why do pollywogs wiggle? And now that we know our real answer, we're going to be able to make a paragraph, an informational paragraph about why pollywogs wiggle. Now, if they were born with legs, would this be a different answer? Yeah. Think about, why do they wiggle?
Yeah, it would be a different.
Because they don't have legs, right? So actually, let's look at, I'm going to go ahead and do my dot camera here a little bit. All right, so what would we, so on page 65 at the very top, my friends at home, let me grab it. Okay, it says focus statement. That's basically our answer to this question. It's not all of our answer, but it's going to be the basic answer of this question. So everybody have their pencils ready. Everybody's got their pencils ready? All right, here we go. So why do pollywogs wiggle?
So they can move around and they don't have legs.
Because they don't have, they move because they need to move around and they don't have legs.
So they can't.
So here we go. So our statement is pollywogs. Oh, you guys are going to need that a whole lot bigger, aren't you?
Yeah, is that a focus thing?
That's the we're writing the focus statement, very at the top. Pollywogs move, right, Miss Sunny? They need to move. Move by, what do they do? Wiggling. And then why do they do that?
So they can.
Because they have
No legs.
That's our real answer, right? That's the real answer, is because they don't have any legs. They gotta move around. All right. Where did we just get all this information, August? Where did we learn about pollywogs? Page, well, that's our notes, you're right. But where did we research our information? In our frog book. So our source, remember, we're experts. Experts do research. But when we research, we have to give credit to where we got our information, right? Did we do actual experiments on frogs? No. So I didn't actually do the work to find out. I don't have any tadpoles or pollywogs actually here. So I got my information from somewhere else. So if you get your information from somewhere else, like most experts, a lot of experts do get some by them from other places. Plus, they also usually do something where they learn that, or where they get that information maybe in person. But we don't have any pollywogs or tadpoles. So our source is what? The book, right? So what's the name of the book? Everything you need to know about frogs. I know it says and other slippery creatures, but we're cutting that part off because, well, obviously I barely have enough room and you're going to barely have enough room. So let's not overdo it. All right. Now, did the whole book give us this information?
No, only
What pages?
6 and 7.
So that's what we're going to write down, pages 6 and 7. Because again, if I'm an expert and someone is reading my information that I'm going to be teaching them, they might want to learn more on their own. They might want to find some information on their own, and they might want to double check that I have the right information. So if they want to do that, they might want to go to my source and read it for themselves. Now, if I just say it's from this book, that's a little too much, isn't it? I have to tell them where in the book I got it from, pages 6 and 7. All right, so this next section here is definitions. What words on pages 6 and 7, I got my page 6 and 7, you're done writing the title and those page numbers, look through some of the words that you might see on pages 6 and 7 that you think somebody else might not know what they mean. What are some words that they might not know? What's that big long word that they had to teach us at the beginning? Ellie, what was the big word we learned all about? I heard her say it. Amphibians, right? We might not all know what amphibians are, right? We might not know what an amphibian is. What could we write as our definition? What is an amphibian? What do you think, Haley?
An amphibian is kind of like a frog creature.
Okay, that's an example, right? But are they all frogs? No. So what could we, Robert, what could we say?
Reptile.
Well, they are reptiles. In fact, that's how we learned that there are some differences between an amphibian, but so we could say are not reptiles. So that could be part of a definition for sure. August?
Reptiles that live in water.
Well, they're not reptiles exactly. Remember, we learned that they're different. Well, Mars? Okay, well, you're giving an example again, like Miss Haley was. Sonny?
Amphibians are toad, newt, and salmon.
Okay.
Amphibians are animals that live part in the water.
Oh, there you go. I was hoping we could remember from last week. It was a long time ago, I realized.
Reading this.
Animals that live partly in water. Oh, I can't write. And on land. Okay, that's one word we might have to explain to somebody. Are there any other words that we learned about? How about what's this paragraph about that we're going to write? What's this paragraph about?
Amphibian.
It's a certain kind of lyric. Polywogs. What if somebody doesn't know what a polywog is? What is a polywog?
A baby frog.
It's a baby frog. And then also, what else do we call it, August? Uh-huh. There you go. Because we want our reader to understand what it is that we're telling them. And if they don't know, if I do a whole entire paragraph about polywogs and they have no idea what a polywog is that going to be useful?
No.
Totally not, right? Totally not. All right, my friends at home, are you doing okay? Can you see well enough? Are you getting this down? Mr. Gavin, you good? You got these two? Gavin, you good? Okay. Johnson, I can only see part of your body, so I'm not sure how you're doing here, bud. All right. All right. Any other words? I remember a big word, gigantic word that started with an M. Anybody remember what that is? Metamorphosis. I'm going to look back in my book like, what is metamorphosis? What is that big old word? What did it mean, Madison? Okay, how about the process of changing from a baby to an adult. Now, are they all, do all animals do that? Do metamorphosis?
No.
No. But is it a process of some animals?
Yes.
Okay, as long as we know that it's not a process for all of us. Humans don't go through metamorphosis, right? Right, Isabella? We only have, we are just certain animals, right? Frogs, we know our caterpillars went through metamorphosis. Okay. All right. I could keep going, couldn't I? I could put gills in that box. I could put nutrients. That's another word I found on page 7. I could put permanently. I found that word on page 7. I could put a bunch of different words, but I wanted to focus on the words that are most important to my paragraph. I wouldn't just put, let's see, jelly-like. I might not put jelly-like as one of my words because I probably am not going to put that in my paragraph about why pollywogs wiggle. So that word doesn't make any sense right there. All right. And so I'm just going to let you know that you're going to fill out one of these soon. Hint, hint, on your own. So if I fill out one of them, just one word, that would give me a 2. If I fill out at least 2 words, then I get a 3. But what would Mrs. Harrison get for this part of her work? I get a 4 because I not only did more than I was asked, which I did 3 words, but I did the word and the definitions made sense with it. So that's all important. You can't just do 3 and then have weird definitions, though. You got to make sure the definitions are good. So I'm just giving you an example of, because eventually you're going to do one of these on your own. And I want to tell you that you want at least 2 or 3 words and really good definitions to go with them. Now, if you didn't know what a word was, could we have gone to a part of the book that shows us what the definition might be? What's that called? Glossary. The glossary might help us. If I wasn't sure, and I thought, gosh, I think I want to put that word in my paragraph, but I'm supposed to be the expert. If I don't know what that word means and I'm putting it in my paragraph, am I going to be a very good expert? No. So I better make sure that I go to the back into the glossary and find out what that word means if I'm not sure. All right. Okay. So I want to write a paragraph about why pollywogs wiggle. And I want to say pollywogs move by wiggling because they have no legs. What are some facts that I might want to put that we learned on page 6 and 7 that might explain why pollywogs wiggle? What do you think? Everybody look at page 6 and 7. Before you start raising your hands and look on page 6 and 7. Or perhaps even on page 63 or 64 in your workbook. But what are some things that we learned that would maybe be good for our paragraph? What are some good things? Anybody at home have any ideas for me? Let me look through my... Logan, anything you can think of, buddy? Some facts that we learned that might help us with our paragraph. No? All right. Abby, what do you think?
They don't have legs, so they have to wiggle to move.
Right. So where do they live?
In water.
Oh, do you think that's important?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Okay. So if they are baby tadpoles, what did the big frogs do?
Mate.
They had to breed, right? So amphibians breed in water. They breed in water. Okay. So that's one of our facts that we learned. Now, do all of them? No, but we're going to focus on, because we're talking about tadpoles. So, we're going to say most breeds in water. Okay. And then what happens before they hatch? What are they? What are they before they hatch? Nixon, what are they? There's they're frog spawn, which we also call, because we talked about that, right? That those little frog spawn are eggs, right? What kind of eggs are they? All right. So amphibians lay soft, jelly-like eggs. All right. Oh, in the water, right? Oops, maybe I should add that because that's kind of important that they're in the water. Even though we just said they breed in water, where do the eggs stay?
In water.
In the water as well. All right. And then you guys said that they live in the water. Do they live in the water? Do the tadpoles live in the water all the time? Well, think about it.
A little bit.
Do tadpoles live in water all the time? Yes.
I thought you were talking about it.
So baby amphibians, right? Oh. Baby amphibians live entirely in water. Now, why is that important? Why is that important to our reader? Little Mars.
Because they need to know where they live.
Because it doesn't make a difference about the wiggling?
No.
Yeah, it does though, actually, right? Because they're wiggling where? In the water. Okay. So now I'm looking at the tadpole stuff. Right in the middle of your book, I'm going to borrow this for a second. I know some of you are going to get mad at me. Right in here, everybody look in their own book, right here. Okay. We're going to get some good information there because we're talking about wiggling. Okay, so we have some facts. These are facts, things we learned. Now we want some details. What in particular are we learning about those amphibians or those tadpoles, those pollywogs, right? So I'm going to move it up a little bit. I know you guys are doing your best to copy that out. I'm not getting anything that isn't in your book though. So if you're having trouble seeing it here, guess where it came from? Your book. So you can look at your book. Okay, so the details. Most baby amphibians live entirely in water. Boom. Tadpoles swim like, look at it, look at it, look on page 7. What does it say? They swim like fish. Yes. Okay, tadpoles swim like fish. Did I get this information from some big, did I have to do a whole lot of research?
No.
No, it came right from page 7. Okay. So they swim like fish and how do they breathe? Ryder, how do they breathe? Nope. I'm listening to Ryder. Through what?
Their gills.
Gills. Very good. It's actually the next sentence. They swim like fish. It's actually just the rest of the sentence. And breathe through gills. Boom. Okay. Do they, but what has to happen so they eventually don't have to swim like fish? What do they do? Gabe, what do they do so they don't have to swim like fish forever? Exactly.
Are you gonna let
Oh, there he is. Okay. Sorry, I didn't see him. There we go. Oh, hopefully down there. Yay. Tadpoles develop legs. They develop legs, and what can they do? They can crawl onto land as they grow, right? Now, I could write a whole bunch more facts about, like, okay, then they grow, then adult frogs breathe through lungs, right? And then they get, and this. Wait a minute. But what is my paragraph going to be about? Tadpoles. So should I write about adult frogs in my notes? No, because is that going to confuse my reader? Yeah. That's going to confuse my reader because all I really need to be talking about is the pollywogs, the tadpoles. All right, so here were some main facts. And then I broke them down even more. Here are some details about those facts that help me understand why pollywogs wiggle. That's our sentence, that's our question. So can I write a paragraph now, do you think, from that information? I can. I'm gonna grab a piece of paper. I have a piece of paper, but I'm gonna use it for something else. My haste. All right. I'm gonna move this up a little bit and hopefully not lose it off of the side of for my friends who either, or Mr. Ben, I'm so glad to see you, buddy. I'm glad you made it. Mr. Ben, I will definitely add this to our assignment and post it. Okay, bud? Mr. Ben, can you hear me okay? Ben, can you hear me okay? All right, he's so busy writing there. All right, I will definitely post that information there. Okay, so I'm gonna write a paragraph. Can I do it now because I have all these notes?
Yeah.
You guys don't look very confident in me. Can I write a paragraph now that I have these notes? Yes. Okay, I've got a plan now, right? So I've got a plan. Now I just got to use my plan to write. All right. So before I write my focus statement, because I already wrote my focus statement. This is easy peasy lemon squeezy. I already wrote one sentence. That's perfect already. First, do you think that our reader needs to, if the name of it's pollywogs, why pollywogs wiggle? What might a reader need to know first thing? Well, not why they wiggle. Remember, you're just a person who's not an expert yet. Why pollywogs wiggle? What are they going to need to know very first before they read anything else? Lila Mars? What are pollywogs? Should I tell them then? So that before they read anything else, they know what they're reading about? Yes. Okay. I'm not going to ask you to write this, but I really need you to pay attention, okay? Because you are going to be doing this. Not for pollywogs, but for other things. So here are my notes, right? I'm going to use my notes to come up with my sentence. So I look at my definitions. Pollywog, baby frog or tadpole. So I'm going to start with, here's my title. Why do pollywogs wiggle? Here's the name of my paragraph. Okay. Pollywog is another name for tadpole. Another word people know is tadpole, though, right? Yeah. Or a baby frog. All right. It's always good that they know what we're talking about before we do anything else, right? So, okay, pollywog is another name for a tadpole or a baby frog. All right. Now, can I do my focus statement? Do you think, Miss Sunny? Yeah, get to the meat of it, right? Why do pollywogs wiggle? Well, let's see. Pollywogs move. That's how they move, right? I don't know why I'm thinking about it. It's right here, right? It's right on my thing. Pollywogs move by wiggling because they have no. I don't have to think too hard, do I? Move by wiggling because they have no legs. All right. 2 sentences in. Score, right? Am I done?
No.
Oh, all right. So, what do you think might also be important? Look at our notes. Look at your notes. What do you think might be important for us to tell them? What makes sense? Oh, because they live where? They live in the water. What do they have to help them live in the water? Gills, right? We just should. There you go. We just got our information there. Okay, tadpoles have gills. Hi there, Noah. Mr. Noah, you're going to go make up your test from when you were gone. You were having fun in the sun. Your reading test. Do you have your computer? They have gills. What else do they have that we didn't write in our notes, but what else do they use to move? What's on the back end? Look at that, Abby.
Their tail.
Yeah. Have gills and a tail to live in the water, right? Okay. All right. And then what are we writing? We're writing about wiggling. What does wiggling help them do? Move, right? Wiggling helps them move through the water. Okay. All right. That's pretty easy. Okay. I see some details. What's a detail? The first detail that we have that we could add. Tadpoles do what?
Swim like
Fish. There you go. Tadpoles swim like fish. All right. All right. Let's see. Then what do they do that forever? No, because what do? They do. Okay. So over time, they grow legs and crawl onto land. Okay, so over time they grow legs and crawl into land and change into what? Ah, good job. You got the metamorphosis in there. And change into frogs through metamorphosis. All right. Okay. We have all the facts in there? Yes. Miscellaneous is yes. What do we always put at the end, though? We have to put in a conclusion, don't we, Mr. Leo? We need a sentence to wrap it up. So right now we just kind of ended with they change into frogs through metamorphosis. But what's the whole point of our paragraph again? Why they're wiggling, right? So until then, they need to wiggle to move around. How about to get around? Got a good conclusion sentence? Did I wrap it up?
Yeah.
Does our reader know what a pollywog is?
Yes.
Does our reader know why pollywogs wiggle?
Yes.
Do they know some details about why they have to wiggle?
Yes.
Yes. Do we use our notes?
Yes.
Yes. Do we use our text?
Yes.
How we do?
Good.
So we planned, we wrote. Okay, now, just really quickly, I want to show you. We're not really going to go through the whole entire thing because Mrs. Harrison wrote the paragraph, but I want you to look real quickly in your book on page 79. Don't worry about it, sweetie. Thank you, though. Page 79 and 80. Everybody at home, look at page 79 and 80. What do you see? Page 79 to 80. What do you see? Mr. Henrik, page 79 to 80. We're not going to write on it yet, but what do you see? Page 70. It's a writing checklist. Oh my goodness, is that something we use often? Yes. Because sometimes we need page 79 and 81. Because checklists help us make sure that we have everything we need, right? Mrs. Harrison sort of just kind of led us through that. But when you're writing on your own, you are going to have certain things that we're going to look for. Now, we're not going to look at all of these because that's a lot. So let me just for a second, I'm going to escape out of this. Maybe not. Maybe I'm not going to escape out of this. Pardon? I can't chat. Oh, you can't? You know why? Because I didn't make you a co-host. Maybe you're not my co-host. Let's find out.
It'd be funny.
All right, let's see if Mrs. Wow, I don't know what would have been. No, you know what's weird is this is all different compared to last week. Something they must have updated something, or yeah, maybe that's why you're having troubles. Okay, that should fix your chatting. All right, let's go back to. Let me put this away for a second. All right, so I want you to look at just a couple. We're just going to look through a couple of them. All right.
Creepy.
Oh, thank you. I'm going for funny. Thank you very much. Undo. All right, let me move my little friends around. Here we go. All right, we're just going to focus on some certain ones. And the very first one, the focus on my piece shows that I understand the topic. How do we do? Does our paragraph give me a thumbs up? Thumbs to the side, thumbs to. Did we explain our topic? Did we answer it well? Okay, thumbs up. All right, did I state my focus clearly? And my writing stays focused? Did I talk about adult frogs?
No.
Did I talk about Kermit the Frog?
No.
Okay, so I stuck to my focus, right? Okay, did I have an introduction? Did I have a one sentence that got us going? Thank you, writer. Writer says yes. Did I have a conclusion that wrapped it up? Yes, very good. Did I let's see, let me go to the next page here. Did I use facts?
Yes.
Did I use definitions?
Yes.
Did I use details from the text?
Yes.
All right, I did it. Did I use words to show that I was knowledgeable about the topic?
Yes.
What word especially would show that I'm smart about pollywogs? Metamorphosis? Do you think metamorphosis is a good word? Gills? Are those good words that show that I know about my topic? They sure are. Did I list my source? Well, I haven't yet, but that's what I would do next, is I would write where I got my information. Okay, I would write everything, my source, and then I would continue to write about it. Did my words and sentences follow the rules of writing? Did I use spelling, capitalization, and punctuation correctly? I hope so. I think I did. All right. So I'm showing you page 79 and page 80 for a reason, aren't I? Why am I showing you page 79 and 80? Why do you think you might want to know where that page is? Ellie, what do you think? Right, so you're going to be, very soon are going to be writing some paragraphs, right? And you're going to need to know, what did it look like when Mrs. Harrison used the checklist? What did she look for? How are you going to use the checklist when you do your paragraph, okay? All right, very nice, my friends. All right, so we are going to move on briefly to the third part of my lesson, which I'm doing good on time. Who remembers when we did this last week? We went over the different parts of speech. I'm going to make this bigger so not only my friends on Zoom can see it, but everybody here. Everybody really quick, take a look here. We did this together on Zoom last week. We went through what a noun is. Who can tell me what a noun is? I'm looking for some new hands. Mr. Lennox, what's a noun? Very good. It's a word that names a person, place, or thing, because these are all categories of words, right? A word fits in these categories depending on what it does, its function. And Lennox is correct. A word that names a person, place, or thing, or even an idea, like metamorphosis. Guess what? Metamorphosis is a noun. Is it something I can touch? No, it's a process, but it is a noun. It's not a thing that we think of as something we can hold, but it's an idea, it's a concept. It's like love. I can't hold love, but love is also, and the word love is also a noun. Okay, pronoun is a word that takes place of another one. So in this case, we had them. Who did them stand for? Do you remember back then? No, it didn't. Them stood for what? Cole, do you remember? They were frogs. They were another word that we were using for the frogs. So for example, of amphibians, reptiles, frogs, tadpole, Them represented one of those nouns, but instead of saying frog, 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 sometimes we put in the word they because it mixes up the sentences, right? It makes it sound not so boring. Or sometimes you just get tired of writing amphibians down, over and over again. So it's a good word. It is a hard word to write. Okay, verb. All right, Paxton. What's a verb? You can look at my cheat sheet here. Very good. A word that describes an action or a state of being. So a noun does a verb. So we had said live, have, lay, crawl. Those are action words. Those are verbs. Today we are going to use verbs, and we're going to talk about past verbs, present verbs, and future verbs. Now, when it says action word, is have necessarily an action word? Sawyer has brown hair. Has is a verb, but is he doing anything?
No.
No. So that when it says state of being, that's what it means. Is it has, you have something, you don't actually have to be doing something. I am sitting at my desk. Am is my verb. I am sitting. Ooh, am. So now I actually have two. I am, or I have, I am, tired. Tired describes me. It's not an action word. It's not a verb, but am is my state of being verb. So sometimes verbs aren't active. Sometimes they aren't like running and jumping. All right, but today's mostly are. Adjective, we use slimy, slippery, scaly, soft. What is an adjective, Miss Abby?
A noun that describes.
Oh, not a noun.
A word
there you go.
Describes a noun or a pronoun.
Okay, it's a word that describes. So I am tired. Tired is an adjective, right? Brown is, did it do that thing it does when I accidentally touch it? All right, and then we have adverbs. Adverbs usually end in ly, but not always, but they describe a verb. And so permanently, how do they live? Permanently in the trees. Do you remember permanently how the tree frogs live permanently in the trees? Amphibians live partly in water and partly in land. How do they live? They live partly. So partly is describing that. So it's an adverb. You know what helps me remember? Because adverb has the word what in it? Verb in it. So it helps me remember that it describes a verb. Adjective, I just have to remember it describes a noun. Okay, so go ahead and open your book to page 77, because we're going to do some verb work. All right, page 77. Everybody at home? Mr. Gavin, find page 77 for me. Ms. Haley, find page 77 for me. Mr. Leo, find page 77 for me. I'm going to get out of there here for a second. Get my dock camera. All right. Page 77. So a verb is an action word. Or a state of being. So here we have a present tense. Happening, noun, present. Doesn't mean a gift. It means what's happening right now. Okay? So I live. Live is our verb. Okay? I live. Happening now. In the past, I have, what's our past tense? Lived. You notice that there's an ED at the end, right? Okay, I will live. That's our future. Something that's going to happen not now, in the future. I joke. I joke with my third graders. Yesterday, I joked with my family. Tomorrow, I will joke with Mrs. Aubin. Okay? Here's I taste my lunch. Yesterday I tasted some cake. Tomorrow I will taste my breakfast, right? Okay, so what do you notice is happening when I have something in the past tense? What do you notice is happening? What do we notice? Miss Abby?
I noticed that True.
What happened to the word when I made it past? What happened to that word when I made it
They
past?
put an ED. That
Very
means it already
good.
happened. It already happened.
So we add, everybody writing this in, add. Now, in this case, if you look at it, did we add ED?
Yes.
We added just a D, didn't we? Because all of those words actually had an E. Verbs ending in E. They already had an E, so all we had to do was add a D. Mr. Lucas, are you getting this written down? Add D to the base. Okay, what do we do on the future ones? Oh, Mr. Sawyer, we're writing this down. Your pencil is writing this down. What do you think, Cole? What did we notice?
You add will.
Ah, very good. Add the word will before the base. Okay, so if that's true, this says I race. What is this one going to be? Mr. Robert, what are we going to say if it happened yesterday? Okay, so spell it for me. I, and then R. If the word's race.
I raced, yes.
I raced. Very good. So R-A-C-E, and then we add a D. Miss Evie, can you see that one? I need to make it bigger? You're good? Okay. I can make it bigger for whoever in the back there. I raced. All right. What's my future one going to be? August? Look at our rule. Add the word.
I will race.
There you go. I will race. All right. Mr. Sawyer, I care. What did I do yesterday?
I care.
Very good. I cared. Very nice. Miss Astria, what's my future one going to be?
I will care.
Very good. Nice. Okay, so if a verb just ends in a plain old E, all I have to do is add a D, right? Or in a will. Easy peasy. Verbs that end in a consonant and Y. Ooh. Okay, let's look at our examples, see if we can figure this out. I fry the potatoes. I'm doing them right now. Yesterday, I fried my egg. Tomorrow, I will fry the bacon, I guess, maybe. All right. Here's I copy. So I copied down the answers. Yesterday, I copied the cursive. Tomorrow, I will copy another worksheet. So are you seeing a theme going on here? Okay. I tidy. Ooh, I tidy the room each day. I tidied my house yesterday. Tomorrow I will tidy my car, perhaps. Okay, what did you notice? What do you notice about these ones here? The past tense, Sunny.
I noticed when you add, it adds the E, so you turn the Y with I.
Okay, so we're going to drop the Y. Okay, everybody's writing this down. Drop the Y from the base. And then what are we going to add, Miss Sunny? An I-E-D. Yep, we're going to drop the Y. So yes, another way you could say it is you change the Y to I and add ED. It's another way to say it, for sure. Okay, what did we notice? Oh, okay. I should grab you another one from the back of my room. What's the rule, Mr. Charlie Carr, for the future ones? What are we doing? Yep. That's pretty easy, huh? Okay. All right. So I worry about making sure my mask doesn't fog up. Yesterday, what did I do? I worried. I'd be ready. How would I spell worried? Lucas, what do you think? W-O-R-R, 2 R's, because worry has 2 R's. And then we're going to drop the Y. And very good. Nice job. Next one. For the future, what? I will worry. All right. I cry. Oh, no. I cry over spilled milk. Yesterday, what, Miss Ellie? How would I spell that? Yep. Very good. C-R-I-E-D. Very nice job. And what's my future one going to be? Mr. Cole? I will cry. Too bad I'm already planning on it. All right, I will. So will. There's my present tense. I-E-D. And so, all right. Are we feeling good about this so far? Here we go. Next page. Flip it over to 78. Now, these are verbs that end in a vowel and a Y. These all ended in a consonant and a Y. R-Y, P-Y, D-Y, R-Y, R-Y. Consonants, always add I-E-D. Now, these ones are a little trickier because they're a vowel and a Y. So A-Y, O-Y. There really aren't any I-Ys, but mostly are in E-Y. All right. So let's look at see if we can figure out our pattern. I stay, I enjoy, I obey. Okay, I stay at school. I stayed at school. I will stay at school. That's how I feel sometimes. I'm here always. I enjoy my third graders. I enjoyed sleeping in yesterday. I will enjoy my third graders tomorrow. I obey the rules of the road. Yesterday, I obeyed the rules of the road, and tomorrow, I will obey the rules of the road. So, what do you notice about what is our rule about past tense if there's a vowel and a Y? What do you notice about those? What do you notice, Miss Lila?
When you have the base word, and then it has a Y at the end, you add.
Yep, we just add ED. That's it. Just add ED. Mr. Robert, did you get that written down, bud? We're adding ED. So we're not, even though there's a Y at the end, we don't change the Y to I if there's a vowel before it. So go ahead and get that written down. So I play the harmonica. I what the harmonica yesterday. What would I do, Henrik? Very good. How would I spell it? Very nice. Perfect. All right, Mr. Max Giesberg. What will the future be? I will play. Very nice. All right, Mr. Leo. I annoy my third graders, I'm sure. Yesterday, I annoyed my family. How would I spell Leo? How would I spell annoyed?
A-N-N-O-Y-E-D.
Very nice. Good job, bud. Excellent. And I what in the future, Mr. Paxton? I will annoy. All right. So we just added another will, don't we? All right. Last one. I bet we can do this quick. I trip over the rug. I tripped over the rug yesterday. I will trip. I hop up and down. I hopped up and down. I will hop. I hug. I wish I could, my third graders. I hugged my family. I will hug my third graders someday. All right. What do you notice about all of these past tense? They have a short vowel. All of those are short vowels and one consonant. What are we going to do? What do you notice is the theme, Cole? Yes, I'm going to double the consonant and add ed. You are correct. So when because if I don't, you know what hop is going to end up? It's going to end up hoped. And if I say I hopped down the hall, I hopped down the hall yesterday, I'm gonna say I hoped down the hall. Is that gonna make any sense? No, it is not. So I need to make sure you don't want it to be you want it to be I hugged my friend, not I huged my friend. Oh no, that is not gonna make sense, is it? So I trap the fly. I went to the fly yesterday, Miss Lyric. Past tense. Yesterday. I trap it. Yesterday yesterday. Trapped. Now, what am I going to do? T-R-A-P-P-E-D. And then we notice here that we add the word will again. All right. So what will I do tomorrow? I will trap. All right, last one, and then I'm gonna let you go. Here we go. I sipped my coffee. Yesterday I sipped. Okay. How would I spell that, do you think? Miss Abby? S-I-P-P-E-D. Nice job. I sipped my coffee. Tomorrow I will sip my coffee. Nice job, my friends. Woo! We got through all of that. We wrote notes, we organized, we wrote a paragraph, and we just went through all of those verbs. Woo! We did it. Nice job, my friends. All right. Yay, Miss Isabella. Good job. Love the excitement, Miss Isabella. All right, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you later today. My friends at home, don't forget to see us for All Block or for OG at 12:45. All right, my friends.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.